All right. This is actually take three. I've been trying at this for far too flippin' long, and I'm going to get it done right now. Chapter 28, Arnalandr. Thank you for joining me. It was late in the day, toward evening, and this mattered not at all to the sun. As Bodil's feasting glid through the icy blue water of the fjord, a shaft of the sun's light washed over the back of the crew's heads. Long has it been that I have not seen this sight, Nathan said. He leaned over the edge of the ship as he hung from a rope by one hand. He was nearly sideways, and he let his hand skim the surface of the water. It looks like every other inlet in this land, Olaf said. Not like this. This one is the most beautiful. Nathan pulled himself back to standing and stayed there on the railing. Around the fjord rose great walls of sheer gray stone that contrasted against the cool streams of the water running down their face. At the end of the water, nestled between two sloping mountain sides, was the village of Arnalandr. The buildings were all bathed in the warm yellow light of the sun, which only highlighted the brown wood of their make. There was a long dock jutting out into the water, and they saw three ships docked there already. This place is beautiful, Neil said. There are few things so beautiful as the sight of home, and the joy of seeing that it isn't destroyed. Too often, I think, has it been where a man has come to what he thought would be home for him, and found death and ruin. Here, we will find only a warm hearth, tables of food, and a chilling ale. This place is a blessing to us from the gods. They better damn well have a feast waiting for us, Eric said. We've sent forth enough word that they must have known for a week at least. Nathan laughed. You will have all you desire here, Eric. This is home to all who seek its shelter. On the shore, the people noticed the approaching ship and saw the beautiful and ornate figurehead on the prow. It was of a carved circle with leaves etched into it. This meant peace and had no work in frightening the Vaetir from protecting the people. Home! Nathan called from the front of the ship. Dorvald Ansidra! People working on the dock got excited at the coming ship, and activity burst into motion. Many came out onto the wooden planking of the to greet them, and ropes were ready to tie them off. The ship was put directly onto the dock, in just the place Fitbjorn had wanted it put. The expertise of the crew showing as their deft handling of the ship was made to look effortless as it turned subtly and floated to right where it had to be. The water was but 2 feet from underneath the planks of the dock, but the thick posts held it strong. All this came to great importance as the Bodil's feasting struck the side of the wood and came to a halt. The momentum of a vessel this large with this many crew made for so much weight to slow. Before the ship had touched the dock, though, Nathan, Skadhild, and Havald leapt from the side to meet with those gathered to welcome them. Nathan ran to a woman who smiled broadly at him. He wrapped his arms around her and lifted her into the air, spinning her around. My love, he said when he finally set her down. My God, it has been a long time. He sighed as they kissed. Long, husband, it has. A woman, a young, handsome man, stood proudly before them then, and Nathan looked on him with a discerning eye. And who is this here? Nathan asked. The man was about to reply when he continued. Some warrior son of Nathan Arnalandr come to see his father. He rushed his son and attacked him with an embrace. The boy lifted his father in response and set him down a moment later. Strong you have become, my boy. He gripped his son's arms, who flexed in pride. We have been expecting your return for days, husband. I miss your touch, his wife said with a raised eyebrow. Not for long. I have come with friends on the ship. We are... No, his wife said. He turned back to her. What is it, Ansidra? You look so beautiful. I miss your touch, she repeated forcefully. She then grabbed him by the hand and led him away from the crowd gathered on the dock. Those who dwelt in Arnalandr laughed, though they had certainly expected this, while the crew of the ship merely stood there, wondering if he was still going to help with unloading the cargo. Let him be. He has his duties to attend, Fitbjorn said. I like her, Inga added, watching them hurry away like teenagers. Welcome to Arnalandr, said a young man wearing an impressive fur wrap that held a circle brooch at the center. He looked to be about 20 and was full of the strength of youth, though he carried the responsibility of a man in his eyes. You are Nathan's son, he asked. I am. I have been the chieftain in my father's place while we were here waiting for him. He is chieftain here? Asked Niels. Yes, though he hasn't led us since his time in the far south. With all of you, I should imagine. I am Thorvald Nathan's son. You are all welcome in my father's seat here in Arnalandr. Eivor, Hermatand, gather some more to help with offloading the ship, he commanded with ease. We're more than able to unload the cargo we have, Eric said. No, Fitbjorn interjected. Allow our host to show us hospitality. We thank you, Thorvald. Eric shot him a look that he would have ignored if he'd seen it. Fitbjorn extended a hand, and they clasped arms easily. Something about the boy impressed Fitbjorn immensely. He seemed to be completely in control. He had a calm and easy confidence, and those around him followed his orders without a word. He seemed to exude control and certainty in everything. Are we to have a feast this night, as the old wolf said? Asked Ragnar. That is exactly what we will have, Thorvald said. Long has my father's seat been without his ass to warm it. And you all shall be the honored guests for tonight's meal. That's what we want to hear. The crew of Bottle's feasting needs exactly that, Niels said with a sigh of relief. Get what needs to be taken. He looked up. And cover the ship in canvas. There could be rains this night. Who is this one? Thorvald asked. I am Stephanos. It is cold here. Thorvald raised his eyebrow and nodded slightly. Yes, it is. You are the brownest man that I have ever seen. Where are your people from? Far in the south. Well, obviously. These men let you sail with them. Or are you a slave? Fitbjorn put a hand on the boy's shoulder. The skin means nothing. You have no doubt heard the foreign warriors joining with raids and the war bands before. He is one of ours. He fights in the shield wall and pulls the oar with the rest of us. He will have as much respect as I have. Is that understood? The boy looked from Stephanos to Fitbjorn and back. Well, come into the hall then. The fire is always lit there, and we'll have mead for you all. Yes, Hafvald said loudly to break the tension, and pushed past everyone else with Inga under his arm. This garnered much laughter from many. And me, Stephanos said, going the same way with Hafvald. Ragnar joined them as well. Let us follow their example, and go we all, Thorvald said. Come then, show me this whole Nathan is Lord too. He has not told us of this. He walked with Thorvald as the boys left behind began the work that was set them. Later, in the hall, they all sat at tables, warm and dry and well fed. As the food plates were being taken away, Nathan pounded his cup onto the table before him, quieting everyone's chatter. They all looked to the head table, where sat Nathan and his wife Ansidra. To their left was Thorvald, and on their right sat Fitbjorn, who cradled a large horn. Friends, Thorvald began, I thank you all for coming and eating with us. We have many tales to tell of our time spent fighting in the Miklagard, of the intrigue of the court of King Yaroslav, and of the arrival of Harold Sigurdsson. Fitbjorn ground his teeth. So, he hesitated, looking at all before him. Ask that one if you want the story. He pointed at Niels. But make sure, Niels said, standing and quieting all the voices that rose up, make sure that you have an offering of drink for me. It is thirsty work to tell story. To Fitbjorn's surprise, Nathan sat after that, once the attention was off of him. Though he realized his surprise was unfounded. He'd known the man some months now, and knew him not to be the most comfortable of speakers. It was rather just a strange sense that there was something missing from the moment, and that was an address from a lord here. Everywhere else he'd ever been, it was always a well-understood thing that the lord spoke some speech, and all listened, and were either emboldened, or put to ease, or made to laugh. He'd seen masters wield their listeners. He knew that Niels could guide a whole crowd through whatever feeling he wanted them to have, and had spent years now practicing this exact skill. So of our time in Nimiklagard, Fitbjorn said, standing, all the attention of the room fell on to him. The candles almost seemed to dim a little, and the quiet his words brought was profound. But he was ready for this feeling, and basked a moment in it. Our time in Miklagard is the past, the far past. These last few weeks we have acted as a herald force, a flight of the Fylja, to foretell the coming of a far greater beast. We have raided all up and down the Arnalandr, meeting with armed foemen sometime, slaughtering many and taking prizes for ourselves every time. His crew growled soft and low as they banged their cups on the table. I think also that we saw some of your friends on the beach of an island near here. They were all readying their ship. Nathan said theirs was the color of the Varangian family. This made Thorvald stand, and many of the other young men looked between each other. Many eyes were cast to the door. You saw the Varangian readying their ship on the beach near? Thorvald asked. Yes, but what does that matter? Since when has there been an issue with the Varangian? Asked Nathan. It has been a long time since you have been away, father. Didn't mother tell you? Nathan looked at Ansidra. She did not? We were busy with other things, son. You should tell him now. There has been fighting. You are warring with the Varangian? But we have been friends before. Nathan nearly shouted. I know what we were. For 8 winters now, we have had some fighting. It is not a war. It is not big enough for that. Thorsten has grown into a man more ambitious than his father, and as soon as he could, he gained control of the longship, their family sails, and has done some thieving and raiding around the isles here. Ever was it you who shepherded these waters, father? But you are gone. We have had to fight them to protect the farms and the villages. Oh, how many have died in this fighting? Thorvald looked around at all the hall gathered. We have lost 4 men in the last few years. We have killed 5 of theirs. So it's a blood feud now. Is the elder Thorsten Varangian still living, or has his son taken control of the lands? How far is the Varangian home? Asked Fitbjorn. About a day's sailing to the west, Nathan replied. Many times have I gone to stay with Thorsten and supped in his hall. How did this all happen? They were a day away, Thorvald replied. But they have made the camps closer and closer. He looked to the door. And now they mean to attack our village. Ready your weapons and shields, men! He commanded, and all those in the hall stood to obey. Stop! Wait! We don't need to fight! They were our friends for many years! My father knew well the Vorandir and called them friend too. They won't attack. Fitbjorn said loudly and confidently. This quieted all and returned their attention to him. We saw them ourselves. They readied the longship on the near beach. They won't be there unless it was for staging an area to launch a raid on this place here. We can probably see them rowing up the fjord if we go look. He stood in a panic that indicated his readiness for action. We did see them, Fitbjorn said calmly, and they saw us. A ship loaded with many warriors. They have no idea who we are, what we have come for. But they aren't going to come and gamble their lives for some grudge. Not tonight. Then, Thorvald said, showing his expression of deep thought, we should sail out to meet them. We have 2 raiding longships now, and with your addition we have 23 warriors. Father, you know these boys. But in the last 12 years, we have become men, ready to war. We will easily overwhelm them and destroy the Vorandir family for all time. No, Fitbjorn said, as calmly as before. What do you mean, no? Thorvald asked, his confident control slipping for a moment. What are you thinking there, White Bear? Asked Ragnar, causing many to turn to look at him. Last time I heard ye speaking thus, it were to twist the fates of Harold and the rest of the army. You've got somewhat scheming, have you nae? I think I do. What if instead of warring with your neighbour, why don't we have them join us? Their warriors become my warriors, their ship to mine. We collect together all the fighters we can and keep on going. There will be war coming, and it is a better place to be on the move and ready to fight rather than weakened from a civil feud. We were friends once, Nathan said. Fitbjorn looked over and saw the handsome, youthful face of Thorvald trying to allay the anger that grew there. No doubt he was thinking of one friend in particular who'd died at the hands of this Thorsten, and trying to quell this fury. He knew also that he wanted to respect his father's wish and make a peace that he could be proud of. Fitbjorn saw all of this in an instant, and then looked to Niels, the skald, the storyteller. It was now that he would need most to employ the use of story. Now it was he would need to make his words change the world. What is best is that you all have spent these last years training your swords. How many clashes have you met against each other? Enough for you to lose 4 and they to lose 5. You are clearly, by this, the stronger. Now is the time to go to them and show that there is little cause to keep this fight going. Better to unite. Not to sail together, obviously, or to fight literally at the other side, but under the same cause. What cause? Asked Nathan. We can't just be expected to forgive and to forget all that has happened between us, Thorvald said angrily. There's been too much blood. As there was the blood of Christ, who taught us all to forgive beyond what ought to be considered natural, Ragnar said. He knew that Nathan was a Christian, and therefore made the wager that his son had also followed his father's beliefs. Well, yes, perhaps, but who's to say they will find such common cause a favorable idea either? Because we will go to them in force and explain the position we make, Fitbjorn explained. But you still haven't answered me, Nathan said. What cause are you talking about? You aren't strong enough to make a move for them, for the crown. Would you style yourself a king of all Norway? No, Fitbjorn said. A man with no name can be no king. And I have seen too well what happens to those who sit at the top. He thought about Michael V, struggling, crying, bleeding, and crawling, blinded by Harold's knife. The cause I am talking about here is that of the people. What people? Our people? War is coming, young Arnalandr. Harold has joined with Anand and Sven, and they come to make war on this King Magnus. You know what war does to a country. I would do all I can, with this crew, to fight for people. Fight for people? What the hell does that even mean? Eric asked. We fight our own war. A secret war. We fight the war against war. Raid Harold and Magnus settlements and camps both. We can each make their war cost them double what they think it will. Become ghosts who hunt the lives of these men. They will ravage the land, the innocent and the weak. We have done it. That is often what raiding is. But I want now more than anything else to fight against the power of the kings. Make them pay dearly for their greed. Rebellion, asked Olaf. That is what you are suggesting, is it not? Fitbjorn smiled. No. Rebels want to become the kings they seek to overthrow. I will not become a king. I do not want Harold's title. Ours is a rebellion, not against one ruler over the other. We will make a rebellion to fight against the war itself. Harold can have this grand kingdom when it is done, but he will bleed to get it. They will all bleed. He will hunt us to death if he learns what we are doing. He would cut your head off if he learned what you just said. Fitbjorn nodded. And each of you with me. You are outcast with me, are you not? Who will sail the Bodil's feasting? And any of you that would join in with me after this. We are not going out to pillage and plunder the innocent and unprepared. We will be true wolves, reaving among dangerous enemies, seeking glory. He stood with a straight back and broad shoulders. This is all shit, Eric said. You are lying. Do you mean to say you truly care about the common people, fishing villages and weavers? What do you really want, Nameless? Fitbjorn smiled. What do we get when we raid villages that can't defend themselves? Food. Enough for us all, and some to take with us if we are lucky. Maybe slaves, if we have the space to take enough for selling. We haven't ever taken a slave, I think, Harold said. Ever has it been too much cost. But you know my point. What we get from taking from people is little. It is small and barely worth the effort of all that killing. If we were to start hunting Harold and Magnus, though, their ships and their camps, there we would find silver and plunder. That would swell our stores, like ever we had found in the Mediterranean. That is what I want, to make a glorious raid on the strength of these kings. For what else have we become? Hunters of game? Go and trap deer and rabbits? Trade in seal pelts? Then I make this about me, Ragnar said. His friends shared a laugh with him. I don't see why this means we need to make a peace with Thorsten and his men. They have made much trouble for us these last years, as I know you have made for them. Your fight should not be against the others in your land who are struggling for the same survival you are. Make common cause and turn your ships and blades to strike at Harold and Magnus them both. Whoever wins this war that is coming, I would make certain that we win greater than either of their victory. You'll get yourself killed, said someone from the room. Fitbjorn didn't recognize the voice. Everyone dies, Ragnar said. I like the idea, laddie. At the very least, the prospect of mere plunder and booty warms me mind. Coming around to the sense of a great hoard, are you? Olaf said, excited. I too like the idea. Who would argue with me? Who does not like the idea? Fitbjorn asked. There were none who responded. And who then among you wants to undertake such an adventure as this? At this, many hands and cups were raised to him. I'll go with you, laddie, though I still want to make it to my homeland. I have already said we will visit the homes of all you Varangian who have been so long away. Those who would join me and work to make this cause one we will all fight for then. He hesitated, realizing what he was about to ask. Come forward here. Many stood, all of the Bodils feasting doing so first, and came to stand before Fitbjorn. I will, Olaf said, and Hafald said, and I, Olaf added. Don't think that I'll be bowing to you, White Bear, Niels said. Fitbjorn laughed. No need to bow. I am no king. Nor I think even a lord. Many of the locals also rose and stood forward. Amazing, Nathan said. He then kissed his wife and rounded the table to go stand before him, taking place beside his son. You who stand here and decide that you will swear for this voyage, I want you all to swear on your ring to it. Each of you grab your ring. All present put their right hand over the ring on their left arm and raised this before him. Swear to me! Now that you all shall take the secret of this meeting and the path we here take, swear that you will be true to each other and any other who joins in our sailing reverse. I so swear, before God I swear, but here's hand and ring, my ring I swear. They all made their oaths by whatever it was they cared for most. Different languages were spake, different gods and customs were called on to make binding of their words. Even Eric, who Fitbjorn thought would be difficult to sway, made the oath with determination in his eye. Stephanos had no arm ring. He put his hands together in prayer, though, and bowed his head. Fitbjorn smiled at him. And any who will not sail with us, you, I want to swear on your ring that you will never tell another person you may meet or see what we are, and what we have decided to do here. By your honor and your allegiance to the family who holds this land, by your God and ancestors, make this oath, he said in a powerful, commanding tone, and each still standing, they that could not join for whatever reason, each swore too. What is the name of your ship? We have only one long ship here. The others are for fishing, as you have seen. Thorvald looked around at all those gathered, all still standing. We have no name for it yet. We have only had reason to call it the ship. Then I will put the ship into your command and call it the Arnalandr. I know it is already in your command, he said, putting a hand up to forestall the boy's protest. Now, though, as your sworn commander, I make the command of that ship truly to yours. Your father Nathan will continue to serve on my ship. He received no complaint. Thank you, Lord, Thorvald nodded. Good! Then on the morning, we load again the ships and go to meet this Thorsten. We meet and tell him what will come of our meeting, and he will join in with us. And what if he doesn't? What if he isn't swayed? For it is not the wisdom of the father you'll speak to, but the bull-headed and violent son. If this Varangian will not swear, as all have done, I will kill him and slaughter all the crew and then take their ship. You are mine now. I will not have you sail away from an unprotected home knowing that there is an enemy at your back and wolves in the hills. There are wolves in the hills, Nathan said, stressing the word are. Fitbjorn laughed grimly. And soon there shall be deadlier wolves on the seas. Come then, Harold. See if you can withstand the lands you want to claim. End of chapter 28. Next shall be chapter 29. obviously, because that's how numbers work. Yes. Thank you for bearing with me in all this time, the distance between the two chapters. All my chapters are so far apart, but yeah, I like this one. Fitbjorn finally deciding to take the power that he has already been using. Thank you all for listening.